What's up, guys? Good morning. Thank you for watching. Sorry, I kind of sound a bit stuffed up. I've been stuffed up since I got married. I got sick like a day after my wedding, and I don't really feel sick, but I still have like I'm like congested for some reason. Probably has to do with all the vaping. Negative side effects. Don't vape. True story. I bought my last pack of these pods, and I am going to stop doing that because one, I don't crave. Sorry. One, I'm not craving cigarettes anymore, which is awesome. Two, I'm slowly realizing and losing the benefits of such a device. It's literally a replacement for cigarettes, and it doesn't make you feel any better. Maybe you don't smell like smoke, but you certainly feel like you've been smoking. So that's a negative side effect. Now, today, what I want to talk about, Lily, say hi. Look at her, she's so cute. Lily, what's up? She doesn't like to be on camera. You want to say hi, Lily? She didn't put any makeup on this morning, so she's a bit under the weather. So today what I want to talk about is schooling. Okay, so I recently got back into college. I kind of briefly talked about this in my other videos, but so I went back. I'm in college right now. I decided that, and I did some research that I want to go and get my master's in occupational therapy. It seems like a very rewarding field, and it seems like something. Sorry about that glare. And it seems like something that's going to be totally worth it. I've talked to many people that are in the field that own their own practice, whatnot, and I haven't heard anything negative about it. I know my expectations are definitely super high because prior to discovering this occupation, I had no urge to go back to school. I wasn't going to go back to school just to do it, just to go through the ropes and get a degree, to just be in debt and not use that degree. So I found, I spoke with somebody, I learned about occupational therapy, and I was like, this light bulb went out of my head. So therefore, let's see, back in June, right now it is November. So back in June, I started doing more research and seeing what I needed to do to get back into school. My main goal was to figure out what benefit did all of the schooling beforehand, what was the benefit of that? And truth be told, it got me super far along for what I'm now going for. So I graduated in 2012 from my local community college, and I got an associate's degree. And I pretty much knocked out most of the classes that I needed to get into the occupational therapy program. So there's a set of 4 classes that I need to take to get into the OT program, and that I'm going to apply for by next March. I have to apply for. So March 2020, I have to apply for and get approved and get into it. Now here's what I've been struggling with. I went ahead and filled out a FAFSA form. For those who may not know what that is, it's basically the form that you fill out in order to get financial aid for being in school. And through that, they ask you a bunch of questions. Are you living with your parents? Are you not with your parents? Do you get money from your parents? Et cetera, based on the income you make, based on how much money you make. Now, the positive thing is I did get approved. I did get money for financial aid. The downside to it is I'm currently in this weird period of time where, so MCC, the community college I go to, has different programs. They have something called a 2+2 program. Basically with that, you take the classes that are needed for your program, and then you 2+2, and then you transfer into a school that has that program, and those credits carry on. The problem with me is I'm going back to college. I've already gotten all those credits out of the way, so I can't get into the 2+2 program. So I'm literally just taking 4 classes at MCC. Right now there's no definitive there's no definitive program that I'm going for based on what MCC thinks. The truth is I am. These classes pertain to the program and me needing to get in. If I don't take these classes, I can't get in. So with that being said, all 4 classes, each class is a prerequisite of each other. So I have to take each class, one class per semester. The problem with that is it puts me in a status where I'm not even considered part-time student. I'm only taking 4 credit hours per semester. Now, the issue with that is I've been approved for financial aid that would essentially cover this whole year. However, because my enrollment status is less than part-time, I don't get any of it. So I'm literally having to pay for my schooling out of pocket, which it's not a huge deal, but with working full-time, paying a mortgage, paying all my bills, and having to come up with like $1,400 for schooling every semester is tough. I mean, I know that there's people out there that do it, but it's something that's new to me, and it's just been kind of frustrating. So I've talked to people about it, and they're kind of frustrated for me, which is nice to see that I'm not just kind of alone in this. But the big difference is they've told me that there's ways that you can get grants and scholarships and stuff like that. So I started looking into those. MCC specifically has one that gives students that are going less than part-time, gives them a little bit of money. I think they just send you a check in the mail for like $1,000, which would be perfect. So with my optimism, I've paid off. I used my credit card. I paid my $1,400 for my schooling for the remaining of this semester I'm in, and then the following semester. So that's all good. I'm waiting to hear back from that. The other thing that I got an email about the other day is I believe every state has something called a TAP award. Basically, it's free money. It's money that after analyzing your application and everything that you put in there, the state decides how much money they're going to give you and if they're going to give it to you. Well, the problem that I've been running into is I got married. And now that I'm married, I have to check that box in any application of any sort that I do. I suppose mine is like a job application. But any application that I fill out as far as getting like financial aid and stuff like that, I have to put that in there. And I have to put all my wife's information in there. And I don't like that. It really pisses me off because it's tough, because combined, like even with just my income, the state believes that I'm making too much money. I make $30,000 a year as a base, and that's too much money. Now, if I were to say, okay, I make $30,000 a year, but I also have like 4 kids, no problem. I'll get so much money I probably won't even know what to do with it. But that's the issue, is you have to be like homeless to get financial aid, and I just don't believe that's like too extreme, man. It's not fair, because like I'm like an adult trying to go back to school and trying to get my education and really going to get into a profession that benefits the community. So anyways, I've had to go back and revise my application for this TAP award, as they call it, this free money, because they stated that I had to put my wife's social security number and all that stuff. And it's like every time you once you put that box in there that you're married, then a bunch of other boxes open up, and you have to put like what your wife makes and all that stuff. And it doesn't really pertain to me going back to school, because I mean, she's not helping me pay for my school, which I don't expect her to. But the state just wants to basically, it's like they're building a case to not give me money, and it fucking pisses me off. Another thing is, I grew up in Rochester, and I was a resident from when I was born in 1991, March, all the way up till I was 21. And I was gone for a blink of an eye, like 6 years. And I'm coming back, and there was like this one question on there asking if I was a resident before this certain period. And I was honest. I was like, no, I wasn't a resident. I was a resident of Florida, technically. So I put that question in, I put that honest answer in there. And then there was no follow-up question. It's like, yeah, I wasn't a resident before this time, but it was like literally a month difference. But I became a resident after that, like a month later or whatever. And I've been a resident for, what is it, like a year and 2 or 3 months or whatever. I bought a house and everything, so it's definitely permanent. And it's like it's like I have to jump through all these hoops to prove that I'm a resident here and I was born here. So it's just kind of frustrating, all the loopholes that you have to go through. One, to even find these scholarships, to even find these things, to even apply for. And then two, once you apply for them, you have to figure out, like, you have to see if you can get approved for them. And it's just very frustrating. It's been kind of a pain. It's like I really want to focus on my schooling, but I'm more focused on how the fuck am I going to pay for this schooling? So that's just kind of like a little bit of frustration. Now, with that being said, I strongly encourage you, if you feel like there's something that you want to go for, and it requires you to go to college, don't be scared to go back if you're a little bit older. Like I said, I'm 27 years old and I'm going back to school. And I'm not old by any means, but usually, like most of my friends, most of the people I know are already in their career jobs. Maybe they didn't go to school, or maybe they did for a few years, but ended up getting into like a job that they're doing now. And that's more of like a permanent thing. Or people had graduated into, when they were, like a few years ago. People probably graduated in, 2016, 2017, came out with their degree and are in their professions. Me, I've been working jobs making pretty good money for only having a 2-year degree, and just kind of recently decided, like, a light bulb came on and I know what I want to do now. So I'm pursuing that. It's just really tough going back to school. There's really not much funding. This is kind of like a woe is me video, so I apologize. But there's not much funding, and one of the things is, my parents were telling me about this program for going back to school. Like, hey, by the way, if you're in New York State, you live in New York State and you're going back to school, they can basically pay for your schooling. It's like free college. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I looked this up, and I'm pretty sure one of the things it said is you have to be living with your parents still. So I have to be 27 years old, living with my parents, have nothing to my name, and my parents have to make less than a certain amount of money for me to be considered to get my schooling paid for. And that is frustrating, because even though I'm now going back to school and I'm going back for a career, it's not like I've been just slacking off these, I graduated in 2012, it's 2018 now. I haven't been slacking off the last 6 years. I've been actually bettering myself, and I got out of the state to, go learn about things. And I was able to buy my first house with my wife, and I'm married, and like all these positive things are just kind of on the rise, right? As a person trying to hit some goals. And I have to go live with my parents? It's just weird, man. It's just weird. And I'm not all about putting my parents' information out there. Like, if I want to include my parents in any of these applications, it's not just like, oh, how old are your parents? How much schooling do they go through? Yada, yada, yada. No. They want me to dissect their fucking tax return forms, and I'm not going to do that. Like, maybe I'm just being stubborn, but I don't really need to know what my parents make. I don't need to know how many taxes were taken out in 2016 in their tax reform. Why? Because I wasn't even here in 2016. I was in a different state, and I'm a recently married dude with my own house. I'm 27, and I'm trying to go back to school. Why does it matter what my parents make? I'm completely separate from my parents. It's just very frustrating, man. But all is well. Gonna make it happen for sure. I just needed to kind of vent that out, and let me know if you guys feel the same way, if you've gone through the same thing. And I know a lot of people are going to say, they may be kind of negative on this whole thing and be like, well, why didn't you figure this shit out when you were younger and you were living at home? You would have been fine. You wouldn't even thought about it. Here's the thing. If I could go back to when I was 18 years old and was going to college, I wouldn't go back and say like, oh, I wish I knew what I wanted to do. Because here's the thing. I've gotten so much life experience just from getting my 2-year degree and pursuing, the music career that I did and living on my own in different states and stuff. I got so much experience between that in that 6-month period that I wouldn't be the same person if I just went from high school, went into college, got my master's degree, and started working. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be as happy or as, what would you call it? Like, I feel like I wouldn't be in the same state of mind as far as this career goes. So I would never take that back. I wouldn't go back for 1,000,000 years, or for $1 million. I wouldn't even do it, to do it all over again. Because how my life has turned out is pretty damn awesome. I mean, I got a fucking spiral staircase in my house. If that's not success, I don't know what is success. I have a carpet or a blanket, hanging on my wall of a wolf. Success is here. I'm just trying to succeed further. I just need a little help from New York State. That's all. Maybe I should start a GoFundMe or something. People can fund my college. I don't know, man. People are doing weird GoFundMes for other stuff, for like homeless people and stuff, but maybe they can do a GoFundMe for Nick to go back to school so I don't have to be on YouTube. Right? But anyways, I appreciate you guys listening, if you're listening. Not really posting these videos for anybody but myself. If people check them out and they like them and it helps them, awesome. Really, since I don't have any social media aside from YouTube, this is where I vent. I throw this video on and I just start talking. Just how it is. Oh, like to notice, also check out the beard. This is No Shave November. So I apologize for looking a little bit less than subpar, but this is just checking it out. This is November right here. You're looking at November, Mr. November. But yeah, if you guys like this video, feel free to subscribe. Please subscribe. Maybe? No, you don't have to subscribe. Don't worry about it. Maybe throw a thumbs up. Maybe a thumbs down. Anything that makes me know that you guys are listening and at least this stuff is circulating in your brain. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If it's snowing by you, please drive safe. If it's warm and sunny, you're missing out on the seasons.